remembering you can update the register as we proceed. Let me just table these appropriately. We just need, what we need to do is just make them available so that they can be tabled. And there's, okay. So I'll move on to the confirmation of the minutes of the previous meeting. And I'm happy to move that. Wednesday, the 20th of July, seconded Councillor Darby. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. And you'll note that we have our standing public input, local board input and petitions. Members, you'll be aware that, and we have gone through this numerous occasions because of the Act under which we're operating and the fact that we're now dealing with the outcome of the panel recommendations, that we can no longer receive extra information, nor is it appropriate for us to do so. So we will not be having public input, local board input or petitions. So we move on to extraordinary business.
Madam Chair, can I ask a question
Councillor,
before you?
Yep, sure.
Councillor Penrose said he had to leave early. I just wonder, what is early, or what time are you intending, what's going to be the hours? I mean, have I missed something here?
No, you haven't, and we're going to get to that. So
that one for item 9 on the agenda.
Yep, it's in the agenda, Councillor Wood. Just we will define what early and late is, and that is a bit of a movable feast with this one. So there's no extraordinary business, no notices of motion. They would have been out of time anyway.
I haven't read that.
So, and I just want to advise as we go through the process, we do have time. There will be no pedal to the metal all the way through this. We do need people to feel that they understand the process as it's unfolding and that they understand exactly what's being done, where and why. And from the chair's perspective, we will need to pause every now and again to just check the process, take advice and make sure that we're on track. So I will just do that right now. So we're just, because of the possible change in process, we're just checking. We'll put up our recommendation from the Mayor and I, and because we're also moving into sort of recommendation time here, I just need to take a little bit of practical advice. So should the decision be made for the governing body to deal with this, given that the recommendations on page 9 all relate to the Auckland Development Committee, do we deal with this item now, or do we make this part of what is decided at the governing body? My sense is that we need to deal with this now. So, members, as I said, we are the Mayor and I will be moving this. I am going to ask the Mayor to speak to this, and then I'll certainly be asking Member Taipere and Member Ngamani to speak to this. So, Mr. Mayor.
Kia ora. Councillors, I just want to preface this comment with the fact that once we get into the substantive discussion, I will be making some opening reflections. They will be brief. There's so much debate to be had. But it's great to see you and to reflect very momentarily on the historic nature of this discussion and this process today. So, councillors, we've had a lot of time and discussion. In fact, we had a recent debate relating to how we would deliberate in these matters, first of all, through the Auckland Development Committee on the basis that we wanted to respect the process, and secondly, in particular, acknowledge the positioning of the Independent Māori Statutory Board in that process. So we recently had a debate and agreed that this is the way to go forward. course, over the last 10 days, everyone around the table has had the opportunity to take advice on the matter of conflict. And so we've all reflected individually in particular on that issue, and of course, and amongst that, so has the Independent Māori Statutory Board. And so recognising all of the issues that were raised at the time of the last debate on whether or not we would go straight to the governing body or whether we would do a two-step program, over the last few days there has been a lot of discussion, particularly with the Independent Māori Statutory Board, as to what their position would be given all of the challenges of interpreting conflict or non-conflict. So what is proposed here is an opportunity to wrap a number of the concerns that were expressed in that last debate, but also to provide the Independent Māori Statutory Board with an opportunity to enable the reference of the discussion on this matter solely to the governing body. And after discussions with themselves, with myself, Penny, obviously with the Chief Executive Officer and the planners, it was reflected that at this point, taking on board all of the advice that we've variously received over the last few days, that this would be an opportunity and an ideal way of further rationalising the process and ensuring that the governing body would be ultimately dealing with the decisions in this process, as had been indicated by many, but also would provide the Independent Māori Statutory Board with an opportunity to, having taken on all the advice that they have, to support the reference of this matter for final consideration and determination to governing body. So the outcome of this would be that if we supported this recommendation, then we would hear ultimately the entire decision-making process in governing body as a simple final program. Now, this recommendation comes to you, as I said, after a lot of discussion. And so, Madam Chair, I'm very happy to second it, recognising the fact that to some extent it streamlines the process, but also provides an acknowledgement to the Independent Māori Statutory Board to support the process into the stage, which is what we were concerned about. So, Madam Chair, very happy to support.
Okay. Thank you.
Ngā kia ora, Madam Chair, ka nui te mihi ki a koe te koromatua e Len, ka nui te mihi i ngā mema no kainihira, ki ngā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Kia ora, Your Worship, for your words. Simply for us, it's this. We have always held firm that we will be part of the process as Parliament determined in the legislation and the role that we would play, particularly as members of Auckland Council committees that deal with the management and stewardship of natural and physical resources. There is no other plan that we know of in Auckland Council that deals with it solely specific under that kaupapa. We have had a number of discussions both as a board and between ourselves as Council and Independent Māori Statutory Board, and we held firm to the position that we should be in the entire process as far as Parliament intended. And that would be till the Auckland Development Committee had completed its process. We knew by virtue of the law that the final decision making would be with the governing body. So first thing I want to say is for all my sins put myself through watching webcasts last Thursday. And first thing I want to say is there are many people in this council who we acknowledge the support that they provided and the advocacy that they gave around the table in seeing that the board continued through the process as Parliament intended. It's unfortunate not everybody around the table thinks that way, but hey aha, that's your choice. The reality is I think the council has come a long way in 6 years of its decision-making as a majority. And again, what's most important to us is that there's a plan for Auckland. And we want all Aucklanders, including Māori, to benefit from being clear about the rules and regulations that are imposed on them as they build a better place to live. So we're happy to work through the process of the Auckland Development Committee over the next 8 days, going through every item and addressing every matter as needed to be. But at the same breath, we got to the point on seeing the report and the recommendations that we could support the recommendations of council officials. And so we felt that ultimately that's where we would get to in terms of a decision. And rather than spend 8 days trying to get there and then just spend another 8 days trying to get there as a governing body, if that's how long it took, we believe that the appropriate measure was to go straight to the heart of the matter, show the support for the plan for Auckland, allow the governing body to complete the process as soon as possible so that they can make the final decisions as required under the Act. So on that basis, Your Worship, we feel that we have participated all the way through from the blank sheet of paper that was proposed and acknowledge Penny in terms of the role we've played over the 2 terms in facilitating this through. Acknowledge Councillor Filipina and the role he played as chair of the Unitary Plan Committee in this term, and certainly our members who participated on that, and having to endure this conflict of interest scenario since day one, really. And, you know, our position is firm. We're here by Parliament to do a job. We've done that job to the best of our ability. We haven't been there in a biased situation. We've considered all matters related to the plan because all matters of the plan affect every Aucklander. So people who have a view that we're stuck in some tunnel vision idea of certain provisions in the plan, they're wrong. But we're up to getting to the next phase, and I'm sorry it's taking a little long in this corridor, Madam Chair, but I think it's possible that this will be the final part that we play should the Auckland Development Committee vote in favour of the resolution. So I'm going to say much more other than we're pleased to be a part of the Auckland Council Act. We're very pleased to be a part of developing the unitary plan, and we'll be very pleased to see the plan enabled and enacted over the years to come. On that basis, Madam Chair, we'll be supporting the recommendation.
Member Ngamane?
Thank you, Chair. Ngā mihi nui kia koutou. I'm going to be very brief. I too enjoyed watching the governing body session, and I want to, like my chair, acknowledge those around the table that valued the input that we've made over the years, and in particular I do pay acknowledgement to Councillor Darby. It's always wonderful to stand from afar and make assumptions about things, but I appreciate that you saw the commitment that we put into ensuring we had a plan that was consistent with legislation and with where Auckland wanted to head. And I valued and was privileged to be part of that. And I say privileged because I'm probably one of the few qualified planners around the table. Graduated in 2001 with a Bachelor of Planning. So it's a particular, with first class honours I might add, and a baby on my back. So, you know, so it was a privilege to be part of such an important document for Tāmaki Makaurau. We see the bigger picture here. And that's why I, like my colleague, lend support to the recommendations, to the plan and the recommendations. And it was important that we concluded that by saying that we support that. and that it move to the governing body for that decision. I'm pleased that the focus hopefully will be about discussing the plan and the recommendations, and perhaps not the circus that may well have encircled people, members. As I said, we're in for the bigger picture here. We support the plan, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Good on you.
Kia ora.
Kia ora.